Now, if your headache keeps coming back, it is not just random and it's not just stress, but it is a pattern that your body is repeating. And over again, this pattern is being repeated. And today, I want to show you exactly why that happens. Now, let's start with something really simple. You get a headache, and maybe it starts slowly and it begins building as a dull pressure around your forehead or behind your eyes. And of course, at first, you ignore it, but then it builds slowly over time. So you take something for it and it works. Within a short time, you experience relief. And I know that is what perhaps what you could be doing. And you think problem solved. But then a few days later, after a couple of days, the pain is back again. You have the same feeling and it's happening at the same location as it happened last time, and you're experiencing the same frustration. And that's when the real question begins. So, why does it keep coming back? Why does that particular headache keep coming back? Now, to understand this, you need to stop thinking of a headache as the problem. Now, a headache is a signal, is not the problem. Your brain itself, it doesn't feel any pain. I know this can be difficult to understand. Your brain doesn't feel any pain, but the structures around it, they feel pain. And the structures around it, you're talking about the blood vessels, you're talking about the muscles, the nerves. And when something affects these structures, your body sends a signal, and that signal comes in form of a pain. Now, here's the mistake most people actually make. They treat the signal, but they don't treat the source. They tend to ignore the source. Now, let's break down the most common causes of headache as we know it. First, we have tension. Tension is the first cause of headache. Now, this is the most common type of headache, and it happens when muscles around your head and neck tighten. And it's often caused by number one, stress. Number two, it can be caused by long hours on screens. And number three, by poor posture. Now, that tightness, it creates pressure. And that pressure is what you feel as headache. Secondly, or the second cause of headache is dehydration. The second cause of headache is dehydration. Now, your brain depends on proper fluid balance. When you don't drink enough water, something happens. Your body compensates for that, and that can trigger headache signals. Thirdly, or the third cause of headache is sleep, and I explain that. Now, too little sleep or too much sleep or irregular sleep patterns, all this may cause headache because they can disrupt how your brain regulates pain. Fourth, or the fourth cause of headache is triggers. And by triggers, you're talking about certain foods, you're talking about caffeine, you're talking about hormonal changes in the body, you're talking about light, I'm talking about noise. Now, each person has different threshold for these triggers. Now, here's where it becomes quite interesting, and I want you to pay attention. Here's where it becomes quite interesting. When you take something for your headache, or you take something for headache, you interrupt the pain signal. But the cause of headache will still be there. So if the cause repeats, then it automatically means the headache repeats itself. Now, that's the cycle that you're talking about. You're talking about signal, relief, return. Signal, relief, return. And that, in a nutshell, explains why your headache keeps on coming back. Now, let's go one level deeper to understand this better. So, if headaches become frequent, your system can become more sensitive. So, even smaller triggers can cause stronger headaches. And that's when people begin saying it's getting worse. In reality, the headache is not getting worse. But what is really happening is that your system is becoming more reactive. Now, how do you break this cycle? After I've explained, I've talked about the cycle. So, how do you break this cycle? Now, you need to shift your focus from just treating the pain to actually understanding patterns that your body is trying to communicate. So, when do you experience headache, or when does your headache really happen? Is it after long screen time or when you skip meals? Is it when you're stressed? No, you need to keep track of these patterns, because once you identify your pattern, you gain control, and control changes everything when it comes to managing recurrent headache. So the next time you feel that headache coming, I want you to take a pause. So instead of asking, what should I take for this headache? I want you to ask a better question. And the better question that I want you to ask is, what triggered this headache? Because that question is where real control begins. So if you found this helpful, I want you to subscribe to this channel. And when you subscribe, expect to get real world explanations of medicine in a language that is quite simple to understand. Because when you understand your symptoms, you understand that they are not random. They are messages that your body is trying to communicate to you. And once you figure that out, you take charge of your health. See you in the next video.